let's do take the bacon. And I don't know if we're gonna really come to a discrete argument here, but I think we can have a good conversation about who is more important to the Thunder's future, James Harden or Russell Westbrook. And I guess my take is that what Harden does at the two guard position, in terms of being able to score in all these different ways. Synergy Sports just tweeted out that he's in the top 10% in efficiency on spot ups, cuts, pick and rolls. Basically everywhere, ISOs, everywhere there is to score, he can do it really well. Neither of them play much defense. And I just get the sense that his efficiency as a creator is so rare, and the way that he's improving is so impressive that as good as Westbrook is, if I had to choose, I might sign Westbrook and then try to sell him off for some meaningful parts.
This is a really difficult discussion. In fact, I think we were trying to figure out where we would differ on it. We look like two pro wrestlers trying to, map out how we'd fight, because honestly, I find it tough to choose. I guess I'll go with Westbrook because it's the other position. Just his athleticism presages further development, and he has a higher ceiling in a literal way, just the way he jumps than Harden does. And so perhaps that's the way to go. If I was going with a pro-Harden argument, I might mention how it seems like Harden and Durant are friends, and it seems like Westbrook and Durant might not be. You often see Harden and Durant appearing together in summer basketball, and you just don't see Durant and Westbrook outside of the court. So I think if we're talking in terms of the Thunder's future and building a culture that's very cohesive, that's something to think about.
Maybe, and I think that could have some bearing. I like their chemistry on the court, and just in terms of the way their skill sets match up. I wrote a little bit about the Mavericks two-man game, but I would love to see, and I'm sure at some point they're gonna figure this out, or they're gonna, everyone's gonna get comfortable enough to try. I'm sure they've thought about it. Having Durant handle the ball and Harden set the screen, and kind of the same way that when Dirk handles the ball and Jason Terry comes and sets the screen. I think that would just be devastating because, Durant is so tall, he can pass out of it. They isolate the court. They have problems with their current roster in that it's harder to gain enough space to get a whole side of the court to yourself when you don't have shooters, and Durant is a patently terrible screener. But I just think that the way that those two work together, that their skill sets fit in a way that works really well, and that Westbrook, the best argument I have for Westbrook is that he doesn't take nights off. Like, Harden will have games where he disappears, and for all Westbrook's faults with his shot selection or with his, he'll push things, he's there. Westbrook is in the game when he's playing because he's always going to be making plays. But I think as they both mature, I just see Harden with his three-point shot as such an incredible weapon to space the floor opposite Durant.
This is going to be a very subjective argument on... I'm terrible at making arguments because I think I chose to back up Westbrook here, and all I'm doing is making pro-Harden arguments. But emotionally, the three times that the Thunder came to town, Harden was very frustrating for the opposition in a way that Westbrook isn't. It's like Westbrook scares the opposition and Harden frustrates. It is galling to see Harden flop the way he does. It is so annoying the way
he's got that Manu gene running throughout his game.
He whips his head back. He gives himself
the beard his innovation to flopping is the beard.
It's a beacon. Yeah, it's a beacon. It's a huge smoke signal that I've been fouled, and refs fall for it every time. I'm sure if you got any player, if you trained them, Monte Ellis, I hate bringing up the Warriors too often, but I guess not anymore. I'm bringing up the Bucks. But if Monte Ellis would whip his head back whenever he, got touched, his free throws would double. I'm convinced his free throws would double. So that's something that Harden does that's very good for his game and just awful for the opponent. It just makes them furious.
Yeah, the other thing Harden does is it's like Duncan used to do this, or still does this in the post, but it used to drive me insane when I was rooting for that Seattle team and we would play them. Is he'd bring the ball in the post from one side to the other, and he'd like swoop under the defender's arms, and either the defender had to like get out of the way, or if he went down for the ball, it was an automatic foul. Like, you could just never strip Duncan. And Harden does the same thing, but like on layups. Like, he rings the ball up like this and then finishes up here. And something about that just seems impossible not to foul.
This brings up a good question, which is that you have targeted the Clippers in many ways in your flop of the night and as a team to be loathed, and I largely agree. But are the loathsome aspects of the Thunder and their floppiness as the other young, exciting team getting a bit underrated and under the radar?
I think you're right. I think Harden is due for a flop of the night. It's only a matter of time. I mean, he was like what happened last night really was special between Miller and Chris Paul. You should check it out on True Hoop. But Harden is due. Harden is really one of the masterful young floppers in the game. And Durant has his brand of like he gets touched and he just goes spread eagle. Which is his sort of contribution. He also gets the head whip. Let's just share this bacon. It's delicious. We had a fun discussion. I don't think there needs to be a winner. I guess the winner is the Thunder for having two awesome players.